Hi there. I'm here with my friend Barrett Rada today. He works and runs a Rising Tide Studios in Danville, California, which is a video production company. And he is super good at making videos that tell stories that help businesses get their story out there to let the world know what they're about. So I've had the pleasure of getting to know him for a little while, and we've had a lot of really good conversations on the value of video in lots of different parts of your business. And so I wanted to bring him in to talk a little bit about that and address some questions I think a lot of people probably have. So thank you for doing this, Barrett. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad we can make time for it.
Yeah, so tell everybody a little bit about like the type of places you work for and kind of your philosophy about video is really interesting.
Yeah, no, great question. So, Rising Tide Studios is we like to consider ourselves a design build video marketing agency because we don't just, you ask us to do a video and we just go, okay, well, when do you want us to show up? And then we show up on the day and we film whatever we can. And then we try to figure out how to put it together when we get back to the office, which, I know happens quite a bit when it comes to when people hire like a videographer. Whereas with what we do, we consider ourselves, like I said, more of a video marketing agency as well as filmmakers. And so what we do is we go, we try to look at it from a marketing standpoint first. So we're going to come in and go, well, what are you trying to do with this video up front? What was the genesis of you wanting to do this? Do you want to get more customers? Do you want to build your following on Facebook or Instagram, or you want more leads? I mean, it really depends, from the start what you're trying to do with this, and then from there, we really do a deep dive into your company, to your clients. What problems are you solving? We like to ask all those questions, and then we come up with the idea of the piece. We schedule everything. If we need actors, if we need certain locations, whatever music we want, all that. And then, after the video's done, we're still not done. We want to help you make sure we get that video in front of the people that you're trying to attract. So, if you're more, business to business, then maybe LinkedIn would be the best place for you to maybe do some ads, or maybe do some more, post your video and then, post it a lot and maybe have conversations around it. Maybe you want to do an ad campaign on Facebook and Instagram. Maybe you want to do inbound marketing. I mean, so you have to kind of ask all those questions, and everything has to be tailored to those answers in order to make it a successful project. And so, yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with videography per se. There's events need to be filmed and captured, and sometimes you need training videos and things like that. But when it comes to marketing, when it comes to wanting to grow your business, grow leads and stuff, you really want to take more of a holistic approach to it and have all of those questions answered. Not only who is this for, but how are you going to get it to them? And as far as, clients we've worked with everybody from, Service Champions in Pleasanton. We've worked for Mass Mutual, the town of Danville, real estate agents, chiropractors, massage therapists. I mean, we kind of work with everybody, although we are niching more into hospitality now. So if anybody sees our work, they see this interview and they go, oh, I would like to talk to him. And maybe they're a contractor. We would love to talk to you. Massage therapist, plastic surgeon, whatever. But our main focus is definitely hospitality, golf courses, country clubs, hotels, food and beverage, things like that.
Right. So, as I've said to you before, that just sounds like so much fun to be working on all the time. I know it matters to me of like, do I want to talk about whatever my client does all day? And that's who I want to work with. So you mentioned so many things in there that are so important across marketing. Video is super important for it. It's how we all relate to each other. But that whole planning process, that thinking about not what do I do, but what do my customers need? What are their problems and how am I helping them? Whether it's customers, whether it's residents, you mentioned you work with a city, it's a lot of different ways to think about it. I work with nonprofits. You're either talking about donors or participants or volunteers. Those are all very different in terms of how you want to appeal to them and how you want to tell a story that will attract them, that gives them a connection with you. Because what you're always trying to do in marketing is building a relationship. So let's talk a little bit about kind of you've got to have 1,000 tips for how to do that. Those kind of little things that people need to keep in mind or can help to do or say or not say, especially when you are doing video, because it does feel much more personal, even when it's not live.
Yeah, well, no, that's another great question. I mean, it's so, I mean, I think like, you know, people have to ask whenever they're, it's like when you make any decision, or especially a big decision, especially when it comes to your marketing, what am I doing this for? Right? What's the outcome that I want? And, you know, how urgent is that for me to achieve that goal? And so, you know, a lot of times people will come to me and say, you know, I need a video. Okay. You know, so what kind of brought us to this moment? Well, I see a lot of my peers have it, and I think it'd be nice to have it. Right off the bat, that is not a good fit for us, because we want to work with people who are looking to grow their business and take their business to the next level. And so somebody who's just kind of like, I guess I'm supposed to have one, they're not an ideal client for us. Now, for people who are wanting to do video content maybe themselves, you know, I think, you know, you have to ask again, what goal are you trying to achieve? Because if you are looking to do what I would call kind of passive content, you're looking to just kind of do some stuff, you know, little clips on your social, you know, using your cell phone, kind of maybe letting people know some announcements, maybe, you know, having a quick like, hey, I was just thinking today, blah, 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 and I want to kind of share that. That stuff is great. People like to watch it. That's definitely a thing that you can do yourself. But if you're looking to, I mean, really grow your business and really take it to the next level, and you have, you know, you want to maybe add a location, or you want to add more employees, or, you know, you want to, you know, maybe you're selling $20,000 of business every month, but you want to get to 40. Well, then that's when you need to look into either looking at Rising Tide Studios or anybody else who is in more of the video marketing field instead of like a videographer. And so, getting kind of back to your question, I mean, I think again, you have to ask yourself right up front, what are you like, what are you trying to do with this? And that's, you know, and what results are you expecting? And I think that that's probably the best place to start off with. I don't know if I answered your question, because I had a bunch of other thoughts, but yeah, let me know if I need to re-answer
well, you
your
jumped,
question.
you know, we had said we want to talk about like, when's the time to do it
Sure.
yourself, or when's the time to do it professionally? And there's definitely a time to do it professionally.
Mhm.
I think at most levels of business.
Yeah.
There's so much to be said. I know that when I go to a website and there's a good video there, and a
Mhm.
personal video, it's not like, you know, the Golden Gate Bridge or something,
Mhm.
then it leaves a good impression.
Right.
And it is that, but you have to do it with an intention of who you're trying to reach and what
Mhm.
you're trying to do. And having someone helping doing that helps a lot.
Yeah.
I was also just asking, you know, because people get so scared and nervous about
Mhm.
doing video, even for themselves. So the thought of like, hey, here's what I was thinking today, or here's something I can teach you, you know, if I want to do that, you know, there's my hand here, selfie video sort of, which do work really well on social. Not
Right.
everything needs to be professional. Most of us can't afford that. Other people can, cool.
Mhm.
Doing that 3 times a week is hard, but
Yeah.
or more, right?
Yeah.
But you know, of like, I think a lot of what we're talking about still matters. It's the thinking about your intention, thinking about
Mhm.
who you're talking to. Sometimes it's just like the planning through it. You said, you know, there's this whole process to making a
Mhm.
video, but it also applies for a smaller video. You don't have to write a script, but maybe talk through what you're going to say a little bit,
Mhm.
right? I mean, I know I tend to like think and run on sentences, and I will keep talking. And then at some point I'm like, I need to breathe.
Mhm.
And if you practice that, then you don't do that in the middle of your spiel, which I just did intentionally. So,
Well, yeah, I mean, you have to, you know, I mean, I think the biggest thing, and kind of we talked about this ahead of time, was like, you know, like where, I mean, like, where do you even start, right? And so, yeah, if you start with just kind of asking what your intentions are, that's a great place, because, you know, if it's coming from like a, you know, yeah, like more of like oh, my competition has video, so I better start doing it. Yeah, I mean, that's always a good reason to, I mean, maybe start looking at something, but your reasons have to be much more like, no, this is all about me. I want to grow this business, and I want to do all these things. And so getting to your point about doing those videos, like selfie videos, the more you do those, the more that you feel comfortable. and kind of finding that rhythm and finding kind of like what your audience wants to hear. I mean, in this all, I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done before. I mean, you need to really understand your audience, and you need to understand like what they're looking for. And like, I mean, really down to like, what do they like to do on their free time? And that might sound like a lot of like that sounds like so much work. Well, yeah, like if you really want to understand your customer base and you really want to be an asset to them, then you have to understand them like to a T. And I think that is, I've noticed a lot of video that's done around here. I don't know who their client is. It's just, here's what we do.
Yeah.
Now,
so who are you talking to?
Right. And you would think, and so let me be, in fairness to people who kind of put out those videos, in a perfect world, you should be able to just go, I do roofs, and like, look at how amazing our roof quality, like look at our team and look how fast we work. Like that should kind of be enough. Right. But we have so many options because of social media, a ton of options. Everybody is trying to sell to us, right? You really have to be much more fine-tuned and direct. And so that's why you see a lot of videos start off with, hey, business owners, hey, real estate agents, hey, financial planners. Like, so that way, like right up front, people are like, ooh, this is for me, or, oh, this is not for me. Right. And I think people get afraid to do that. They're afraid to go all in on something because they're afraid that they'll alienate people. But guess what? If they're not your clients, you don't want them calling you anyway. So yeah, it's a lot of mental things, but it's also a lot of strategy, definitely.
So what I love about this conversation, I think is funny, is that you specialize in video marketing and I specialize in social media marketing. But what we're talking about are those kind of bigger marketing, branding, strategy things that everybody needs to think about, whether it's what am I doing on social today, or what am I doing with this video, or just overall. Yes, it takes work to do that whole figuring out what your client needs and who they are and what they want, and giving them a name and what do they do on weekends. And by the way, my client's name is David. There's a reason I figured that out. But they're so valuable for so many other things. So it's worth doing both for the little things, but also always kind of thinking about all of that in your business. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah, well, actually, a couple of things. You touched upon something at the beginning, kind of at the beginning of the call, about how, like, what an awesome job, like what a great thing to be doing for a living and all that. And one thing that we especially started kind of reminding our clients now when we start a project is that, like, we're making a movie about your business, and so I think like a lot of times, yeah, and I think a lot of times people are, and I've done it myself, where they are weighing professionalism with like kind of making their dreams come true, if you will. And so I think a lot of times I see a lot of videos that kind of play it safe. There's like, you can tell that they're like, we don't want to make anybody mad. We don't want to make anybody sad. We don't like, we just really want people like this kind of very, straight edge, like view of what the business is. But one thing that the more that we've leaned into emotions, and the more that we have kind of like upped our game in regards to the cinematic, like, going more cinematic quality instead of like what would be considered typical video, focusing on good lighting and colors and music. And then also, this year we've made it a goal to really do a lot more comedy stuff, and not only with our own content, but also with our clients. And so, you have to think about your audience too. Like, not only do you have to worry about what their concerns are and like what are their problems and how does your product solve their problem, but you also have to entertain them, right? Because like you're fighting for YouTube, you're fighting against cat videos and sports videos and like all these things. And so if your video pops up on screen, it has to be interesting and it has to be worth their time. And the famous thing about our fishbowl whatchamacallit, attention span, right? If you don't hook them in the first like 3 to 5 seconds, they're not going to watch the video to the end. They're not going to get to your call to action, and the next thing you know, that was kind of a wasted opportunity, if you will. So
it doesn't get you what you want.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think like just really like when you look at your your video from a perspective of marketing. Everything you post on social media is marketing. Anytime you show up and you're representing your business, you're marketing. And so, we like you said, like when you watch that video on someone's website and it's like really well done, well, that gives you a high perceived value of that brand, right? Now, if you just kind of throw up this, on your website, kind of this video that you got a crazy good deal on that was like really inexpensive, and a friend of a friend of a friend did it for you, and you just throw it on your website, well, there will be people who will not notice, and there'll be other people who will look at you and go, like, I don't know if we're a good fit because the quality, I'm not seeing the quality match up with what I'm looking for. Right.
Right.
And that happens more than you think. So, I would just say, have fun with your videos, definitely, whether it's through a cell phone or you're going to actually hire a production company or marketing agency to do it. And then, know your audience, really understand. I mean, and all these things, you don't need crazy super equipment if you're doing it yourself. But you do need to have good audio. So hook in your earbuds or your whatever, and you do need a story, and it helps to have a story that is conflict and resolution based.
Yeah.
Right.
Like introduction, conflict, resolution.
Exactly. And even going further, something to hook them in the first 3 to 5 seconds, you get into the conflict, because you got to make it worth it for them to watch and listen to you. And if you just go, well, I'm going to talk about my, I'm just going to talk for an hour about the market or whatever. Well, if I'm your client, why do I care? Why should I listen for an hour? There's all these psychological things that are done not only through video, but through blogs and, television and books and everything like that, that get you psychologically invested in what you're listening to. And a lot of people just don't do those.
Yeah. So, which it means you can stand out by doing them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Having that story. And also you were saying, like, some people do like the ho hum thing, but whether it's being funny or being dramatic or taking a stand on something or being a little bit controversial, be you, show your personality, because that's always, it won't attract everybody, and it doesn't need to. It needs to attract the right people for you. So absolutely. You nailed it. Just want someone who has no sense of humor, and you like being funny. That's not the right person anyway. So let it go.
Oh yeah, no. You nailed it. And that's where I think people really get in their way too, is wanting to be one to all. And really, like, for me, like, I've accepted this, it was a struggle for me. When I first started, I was your, friendly neighborhood videographer who did everything for no matter what price. And I was working all over the place and all that. And then at some point I was like, I'm doing great work. My clients are getting results, like they're happy, but I am not happy. And so, because I'm not doing the scale of work and the size of work that I want to do. And it's like, I want to do other things. And so I had to make that difficult choice of investing in myself and my equipment and upping like everything that I do. And with that comes a cost increase. And some of the clients that you work with for a long time, you find that you're too far apart budget wise, which was very scary. But I realized that for me to serve my clients the best, I have to be doing work that I'm passionate about. And so now I found that mix where I'm getting results from my clients. They're paying a lot more than people normally would, that I was charging in the beginning, but I'm doing work that I'm proud of and my clients are proud of. And so I found, and I'm still working on it because it's a constant thing, but I found my lane because I was willing to offend, but not in like the typical offend, meaning more like, hey, we're just not a good fit.
Yeah. But to let go of something.
Exactly. Yeah. And to your point, it's just like what you're saying, you just got to get on camera. You got to start messing around. You got to start seeing what works for you and what doesn't, because what works for me, my style of, I guess, sense of humor and personality is way different than yours and way different from his and hers and all that. And so, you got to find your voice and you got to just find your lane, but that doesn't come from doing nothing and just waiting for it to happen. You need to just start trying. So
it doesn't come from being in your head. You just got to get out there and start doing it. So.
And it's something that I learned, I had to learn as well. And it's, for every so often I still have those moments like, whoa, you're self-censoring too much. You need to just do it. And then you'll figure it out afterwards. So.
Yeah. Well, cool. Thank you so much. This has been really, really helpful. I appreciate it. just kind of wrap it up. Is there, if someone wants to reach out to you, contact you, what's the best way?
Yes. So you can find our website, www.risingtidestudios.io. And we're on Facebook and Instagram. It's at Rising Tide Studios IO, so no dot or anything like that. You can always email me, barrett@risingtidestudios.io. But yeah, we're all over Instagram, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, Vimeo, all that good stuff.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Deborah. We would love to do it again soon.
We will.
All right.